Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of Last Call at McLaren's, the best damn How I Met Your Father podcast on the internet. That's right. We are here to talk about How I Met Your Father. I am Josh, here with my best bud, John. How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing excellent today. I can actually talk more normal today. I feel the best I've felt in a while. The year is confusing me, but we are here.
Mm-hmm. And my lighting was just blowing my face out, apparently. I don't know what's going on today.
You look amazing in your lighting. You look like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
I do. Let me see. Does this work? Ooh.
That's a little bit better.
That's so much better. I'm just going to close my curtain. Bam! I got skin tone, people. He's
got pigmentation.
All right, folks. So we are going to get into How I Met Your Father, Season 1, Episode 6, Stacey. Yeah, that's right. Stacey is her name. Being a bitch is her game.
Yes.
That's how we roll. So this episode aired February 15th of 2022. Directed by Phil Lewis. John, you know Phil Lewis. You may not know his name, but you know who he is.
He's the Hooch.
He is Hooch. And he's also Mr. Mosby.
You act like I wouldn't know who Phil Lewis was.
Dude, I didn't know his name. I'm just I looked him up because I had no idea who this dude was until I looked up his name.
So those of you who don't know, Josh and I play this game where we say an actor or an actress, we try to link either to a TV show or movie and name a romantic person of the opposite sex usually. And Josh is stellar at this game because Josh knows actors and actresses and can remember movies that, like, I can't. But when it comes to the tedious bullshit, like Hooch, you best bet I know who the fuck Phil Lewis is.
Hey, man, good for you. I did not. So I had no reason to assume you did.
Dude, Hooch is crazy.
Hooch is crazy. I do find it funny that he played a character called Mr. Mosby.
Yes.
On The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody because of Ted Mosby.
Maybe that's how he got his maybe he was like, I'm Ted's like long lost uncle.
Hey, you never know.
Oh, an episode then? Go ahead. And he's like,
I saw that. I was like, Hooch directed an episode of How I Met Your Father? He is crazy.
He is crazy.
And it was written by Donald Diego, who is one of the executive producers on How I Met Your Father. As well, he was also a staff writer on the 5th season of Community.
Ooh.
Yeah, not one of the best seasons, but, I still like the show.
I mean, you can't take one season out from the rest of them and pick it apart.
I mean, I can, but...
You usually do.
Season 1 and 8 of The Office, for instance. Not the best.
Fair.
Not the best. Just saying. All right. So the summary for this episode, which I'll say before I even read it, leaves a little bit out. It says, Sophie feels haunted by her boyfriend's ex. Sid and Hannah hash out an old argument. Charlie and Ellen host a dinner party. Yet there's some key things. They didn't mention Charlie and Vale. They didn't mention the whole thing with Jesse and Ellen. None of that stuff happened.
Well, I mean, they were focused on the main two stories.
Yeah, I suppose, but
usually that's what the synopsis does.
They could go a little deeper. They could go a little deeper with it.
True.
But I prefer to not do it myself, so I just read what they write.
So, interesting thing about this episode is like a whole. I don't know about you per se, but when I watched this one, I got a real Season of Breakups vibe.
Yes, I literally have that in my notes. I wrote, so the very first thing I have written down says, this episode is all about testing relationships. Every single character runs this path, which they do. And then I said, it reminded me of the episode of How I Met Your Mother where one of the couples will break up, which is the Season of Breakups. And yeah, it 100%. Because there are four couples in this episode. One of them doesn't make it out of the episode.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I like that. Something a little different.
Well, it was weird because, like, when we recorded for the last episode, I said it didn't really feel like it didn't fit the season so far. Like, it was just kind of like different. I said it had that different vibe to it.
Yeah.
This one, completely different. I watched this one and I was crying while I was laughing, and I was like, this is a How I Met Your Mother feel. Like, this is what the show has been missing the whole season.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I like the way they branched the stories, because, like, you know, it has like the two main stories, right? But each story branches off into two other separate stories.
Oh yeah,
which I thought was really neat, because we haven't seen that. It's very, I don't even know. We've probably seen that in How I Met Your Mother, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. But I feel like it's very rare. We don't typically see a branching within, you know, the separate stories. So we have Couples Night, which branches into Sophie and Drew and Stacey, obviously, and then the whole Sid and Hannah stuff. And then we have the dinner party, which is, we got Jesse, Ellen, and the Mia stuff, and then the Vale and Charlie stuff. So it's like a lot of stuff happening here, which kind of we talked about, ties into that whole summer breakups type thing.
Yeah,
because they centerize on all the couples.
It was really nice because, like I said, with the last episode, there wasn't much going on in it. It was a very basic episode. Like, there was like the two storylines, but they didn't really cover. It was
much a bit more about, the last one was a bit more kind of about learning about Sophie's past. Really, it was giving us more about her is what it was. It was really, I think, what the crux of that episode was.
Yeah. But like with this one, there was just like, it almost felt like if it wasn't controlled the way it was, there would have been too much going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I know what I mean when I say that too, but I also really like that
I think if they had tried to do all the storylines completely separate and have have 4 separate storylines, that would have been way too much. But having you have these 2 storylines that branch, I think that is why it worked as well as it did.
Agreed. Yeah. And I love that you and I vibed though on the summer breakups thing, because I just think that was really cool.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you said that. Yeah, I'm so happy that you said that, because I was like, I hope I'm not the only one feeling that, because like it almost like punched me in the face when I realized what was going on. Yeah.
Well, and that was it. I realized it about like halfway through, where I was like, oh man, this has got like that real vibe. Like, they're not like, at least I thought at least 2 of them were not going to work out.
Okay.
I'm glad that. Well, let's just kind of start talking about the episode a little bit.
Yeah.
I was really glad to see the Charlie and Val side of everything.
Yes. Yeah, theirs felt of the 3 like main character ones, not the Jesse Mia one. Theirs felt the most volatile.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I was worried too, because like it got serious.
Well, and like I understand both sides of the argument going on with their fight.
Yeah.
I get that sometimes you're not lying when you omit the truth all the time. Sometimes you don't talk about shit because you know it's going to cause problems.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why Charlie wasn't like, oh, you know, all this shit happened because of women. You know,
and it's funny because both main storylines were kind of almost mirroring each other a little bit.
Yeah,
because you had Drew doing the same kind of thing.
You did.
Lying about stuff because he didn't want to cause more problems.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I find that interesting.
And yes, and I thought kind of about that a little bit, but not honestly as much as you did. Because I was like, oh man, it's reversed, but I didn't really think about like the omittance of truth when it came to the Drew one. Because I had a little bit more to that one.
Okay, and we'll get to that one.
When it came to the Charlie and Val side, I was like, okay, I get it. Charlie's scared. You know, first off, dude's out of his element. You know, he doesn't really have anybody else. He's got Sid that like he seems to be the closest to. And I was like, but he can't really go to Sid at this point because Sid's gone on the weekend. And I was like, fuck, man. Like, he's battling this whole shit with Val. And I feel as if Val overreacted a little bit.
Yeah, and I thought that at first. I was like, what? I was like, why is she acting this way? Like, she talks about people she slept with all the time.
All the time.
And it's not until the end that you find out why she's acting this way. Because, it does. It feels like a big overreaction throughout the episode. Listen. It's like, it's almost, it reminds me of, was it the last episode? Or was it the Dirty 30 episode? I think it was the Dirty 30 episode, where her character was the opposite. She was like, I don't care, you know what I mean? Whatever, we're going to be an open relationship. She was completely on the opposite side of it. And acting out of character. And now, again, here, because she's not in that sweet spot. She's not in that middle.
She's in like an uncomfortable territory.
Yeah, so she doesn't know how to act because she's not really, it seems like she's never really been in love.
Probably hasn't.
You know, and this seems to me like it might be the first time for her. And it's hard for her.
I will say this. When she looked Charlie in the face and told him she loved him, dude.
Yeah.
I had to fight it. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's a sweet moment right there.
It was.
Also.
And they didn't play it for any laughs, really. Like,
no.
He didn't, like, make some crack or anything. He said it back. And, like, it was such a good, sweet moment.
I loved his grab her, embrace her, kiss her moment. Like, I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah. I like them as a couple. I
also,
really do.
While we're talking about Charlie, actively see him working the bar during this episode.
Yes, we do. And not the best.
I love how he's like, does everybody want some beer? Because I forgot what you guys ordered.
Yeah,
I was like,
hilarious.
Oh, damn.
And it's funny because we do see Jasper. He's standing at the bar.
He's got to train Charlie.
Yeah, again, no dialogue. Yeah, I think he was like on his phone or something.
I think it was a mix of him on his phone and watching Charlie. Because, like, I noticed at a couple points he was like,
yeah, but again, he doesn't seem to care that much. So I think they're going to fade him just complete. I think he's just eventually going to go away.
Fair, probably.
I wouldn't be surprised. Or maybe he'll just be like a Carl, where he just pops up like every so often. He gets a line or two every like a couple times a season or something. You know what I mean?
That would be kind of cool.
Who knows? You know, he might stick around, but we almost never see him. And that way, you know, it gives Charlie more to do at the bar instead.
That is true.
We'll focus on him there. Speaking of him at the bar, Sid says a line that I had to do Google research because of this. When he gives him back his papers, and he's like, I don't know why I photocopied these. You working here is totally illegal. I was like, why the fuck would it be illegal? I mean, he's living here, right?
Yeah.
But I had to look it up. You have to have a very specific work visa to be working there. And we've never seen or heard of anything of him trying to get that. So I'm assuming that's why.
I'm surprised you had to Google that.
I didn't think about that. I thought, like, if you're living here, I'm pretty sure you have to have a visa just to live here. Yeah, so I didn't think about the fact that you had to have a separate one just to get a job. I'm just like, wouldn't the government want you to get a job so you can pay their taxes and shit? So you think they'd make it a little bit easier, but
just think Robin, man. Robin had a work visa.
Robin, the whole Robin thing popped up in my mind too, because with that being a thing, it made me think, I wonder if they're eventually gonna go the deportation storyline at some point.
Ooh, maybe.
You know what I mean? Like what they did with Robin. So it'll be interesting to see, because like they easily could, especially what if somebody finds out that he is working there.
True.
Under the table. You know?
True.
So I don't know. It could be interesting. It could add a little bit of drama to things. That was just another thing that I wanted to point out when it came to the whole bar.
All right, so you pick the next part we talk about.
Let's just talk about the opening, because that had everybody in it, and it is before everything kind of split off. We started talking about it because we saw Charlie and everything there. We see Hannah. Finally, she comes back into town.
Yeah, it was kind of nice to see her again.
Yeah. Her and Sid are checking out a possible wedding venue, and they're able to take a couple guests with them.
And Jesse thinks it's gonna be him.
I'm just like I get that it's like your best bud, but like, really, guy? Like, come on, man. Like, I knew instantly who it was gonna be. Like,
oh yeah,
when they were like, we can take two guests, I was like, oh, it's gonna be Sophie and Drew. It makes the most sense. They're like the actual other couple, you know, that isn't that. I don't know. It's like, I think it's because they're friends with Drew. I think that's why. Because like you do have Charlie and Vale, but like they're not as close friends yet.
No,
You know, that's starting, but it's not quite there. So it made sense. We got a little bit of insight on Drew's past a little bit. You know, they used to call him Drewshy because his apartment smelled like fish, apparently.
We also got a little bit of a backstory on Sid.
Yeah.
Which was really nice. I have a lot more respect for his character.
Yeah. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Well, so when we're going into the Sid storyline, the Sid and Hannah storyline, which I was like, they're a really cute couple. Like,
they are.
In the whole weekend, like, they had this romantic bond with one another, and they're doing the thing. And then he talks about how he became the established bar owner of Pemberton's.
Pemberton's, yeah.
Pemberton's. Yeah. And he's talking about how
they talk about this at the restaurant or at the venue that they're at. Which, funny enough, the guy who owns the place is played by the actor who plays the Reverse Flash on The Flash.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. I was like, why do I know this guy? And I'm like staring at his face. I'm like, that's Eobard Thawne right there.
So we find out that before Sid became the bar owner, Sid used to be in medical school with Hannah, and that's how they met.
We knew that he had gone to medical school, and that's how they met.
I forgot.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to get that retouch on that because they don't touch on Sid a lot. Like
I don't remember if they said he dropped out, but they reveal that he dropped out. He dropped out,
school. And he said how he was struggling. And I think it's really cool. It shows that, medical school wasn't his thing.
Yeah. Because he comes from a traditional Indian family who, like, a lot of times the parents tend to push you towards, like, those high pay, like, lawyers and doctors. Like, that happens. That's a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
And they show that his dad talking to him about this. And you're going to be a doctor, you know, essentially, whether you like it or not, And so he does that. He goes to medical school to make his parents happy, and it obviously didn't make him happy.
And I mean, and it doesn't. And I love how he's like, so I started hanging out at this bar. So I did a lot of my studying. Yeah. He became friends with this elderly owner. And then one day he finds out the owner died, and that's where he realizes what he needs to do. Yeah. So he goes to the bank and he takes out a loan and he buys the bar without even asking Hannah. Yeah. And this is where their storyline is set. Yeah. It is set at this crook where it was a do or don't decision, and he felt like if he didn't make this decision, he would regret it.
Yeah.
And I really thought to myself for a few moments, and it isn't until he has the big talk with Sophie where I'm like, Hannah's a very giving woman.
Yeah.
Like, there's not much she wouldn't do for him. Like, they love each other dearly.
Yeah.
And he even says, like, she's like, well, do you think if you'd talked to her first, she'd have said no? And he's like, no.
Yeah, he knows that she would have supported his decision.
Absolutely.
It was just all about the fact that he didn't even talk to her at all about it.
It's kind of, I hate that we always mirror it to How I Met Your Mother. But I mean,
it's kind of hard not to, especially in the first season. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's kind of hard not to.
It kind of mirrors when Marshall takes the judge position in season 9.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Like, it's going to happen. It's what it needs to be, but it also explains why Sid is so hard ass on having the bar be perfect.
Yeah,
because he can't fail.
Yeah,
and it's like, I feel for him in that instance because, like, he really, really wants this.
Yeah.
And Hannah's not going to take it away from him. And I love that about her.
Yeah.
They're doing their own separate things right now, but they still love each other. And they're going to be happy. I think they're going to be a great couple.
I agree. Yeah. It's funny because before the series started, we learned that Sid was a bar owner, that he bought a bar. We knew that before the show even started. And, like, we made the joke, there's 5 words that every guy says. We should buy a bar. But that's not the situation here. It wasn't this, like, this epiphany moment. Oh, we should buy a bar. It was this, this is something I have to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was very, I like that they didn't go the route that we assumed would be the reason why he did it. It was just because, but like there's a real, actual, deep emotional meaning behind why he did it.
Well, I also love that he didn't change the name out of respect for the other owner.
Yeah.
Like he kept it the way it was. And I'm like, man, that's so sweet. Like Sid is a really chill dude.
I like him.
I can't wait to see the wedding.
He's become my favorite character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even more so after this episode, I think. Because of all that, the scene with him and Sophie in the hallway, it was nice to see them have a moment together. That was really cool.
By the way, next time you need to apologize to me if I don't get a Kit Kat during the apology, I'm going to be pissed.
Okay, I should just buy a whole box and just keep them around.
Whole box.
Just keep them around anytime I need. Like, oh, here you go.
You're like, oh man, I got to apologize. Here's a Kit Kat.
I like it. So early in the episode, toward the beginning, when they're still all together at the bar, this is where we kind of first learn about Stacey. Hannah accidentally calls Sophie Stacey, and we find out that this is Drew's ex. They used to hang out with Sid and Hannah a lot, and Sophie tries to play it off like it doesn't bother her, but then when she gets back home with Vale alone, it bothers her quite a bit, And
I mean, have you ever been called the wrong name?
I think so, yeah, and it did. From what I remember, this was a long time ago. I think it did bother, but I didn't get as crazy. She got a little, she got nutty. She went a little, but Vale doesn't really help. She's just like, I'm gonna throw a little fire on that. So we're gonna Instagram. We're gonna look this chick up, and she does some deep diving to find this girl.
I would like to say that it would probably bug me if I got called the wrong guy's name, but the only girl that would have ever happened with, her ex's name was the same as mine, so I could never tell if she was calling me by my name or his name.
Fair.
You know exactly who I'm talking about, too.
Oh, I do. And it, like I said, she goes on this deep dive, and then we find out that Sophie and Drew they've been together for a month. They haven't had sex yet, which I was like, huh, okay.
Didn't really.
I mean, it's not necessarily uncommon, but like, I just assumed that they probably would have by now.
Listen, so when I heard that, I went Jason Momoa in my mind with respect for Drew. I was like, my man, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, good for you, dude. You've got this smoking ass hottie, and you're playing it fucking chill. You're like, I could fuck her, but I'm not going to yet.
Yeah, he is. I like his character. He's a totally chill dude, and he seems like a real nice guy. Even after like the stuff that happens in this episode with him, like lying by omission. I mean, actually, straight lying too. He doesn't just lie by omission because he does straight up say, "Oh yeah, I've never been here before.
Never been here. Never."
So he does straight up lie. But even with all that, you still like him at the end. You
do
because of the way he handles it all at the end, which. I mean, that's good writing, I think. In my, they're doing a good job here with these characters. All right, so do you want to dive deeper into the couples getaway, or do you want to go into the dinner?
Yeah, let's go into the couples getaway since we're there.
Okay. So let's see. Like I said, we meet the venue owner, which I already talked a little bit about, and then there was this line that really made me laugh both times that I watched it. And because he's talking about everything that's in here was made on the property. And they're like, and she's like, even the host, making a joke. He's like, actually, yes, that's my son. And he was conceived in the room you're standing in. I was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Just the way that he says it, just the smile on his face. Oh, no, he says, no, I could have swore he said the room that you're standing in.
The room that they're staying in.
Oh, okay, so then I misheard.
Because she's like, that's slightly creepy.
I mean, I feel like it still would have been creepy the room that they're standing in.
I mean, it would have.
Might have been even more. Because that's just an open area.
I'm not going to lie. I thought he was trying to sell wine to Sid. Like, he was constantly holding the bottle of wine.
Yeah.
I'm like, is he trying to, like, push, like, a wine order on him? Like, is he, like, buy my wine?
I don't know what that was about. I wonder if it was just their kind of way of, like, they want this guy to seem almost kind of fancy, so he's got the wine, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, because Sid did say they have, what is it? It's big...
Oh, big owner energy, BOE.
BOE.
Yep. And it's funny because when the owner says it, he's like, BOE is actually happening. And it reminded me of Barney and all the little things that he does, like, you know, the lemon law and all this other stuff. You know, like, he's making it happen, and it's finally happening. And so that was really, I thought that was kind of funny that we got a little something of that.
It is, and it was really chill.
Yeah.
But so focusing on the Sophie and Drew thing for a second.
Okay.
Poor Sophie's trying her damnedest to, like, have a good weekend while knowing that Stacey and Drew both been there. You know, Drew's pulling the...
But she didn't know at first, and that's the thing. Like, they get there and everything, and she's just like, she's standing away from the table. I think she was, like, checking something.
Yeah.
And she just kind of, like, glances over, and she sees where they are sitting and realizes she's seen that exact, like, the table in front of the cabinet seen before because it's on Stacey's Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and then the same thing happens with the meal.
Yep,
and it's
the
like,
lobster.
It's like, what is, like, come on, Drew. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're even getting the same meal. Like, it's not his fault that they went to this place because this was Sid and Hannah doing it. But like, I mean, you had to order the same.
Though, he didn't know she knew about the meal and stuff.
That's true.
Maybe he just really likes lobster.
It just seems odd. Like, I get it. It was probably super good. He's like, you know what? I want to get that again because it was super good. You know, and I get that. And maybe he felt like, because we learned later on, you know, that it wasn't that great of a weekend, actually. And maybe he wanted it to have it again in a better setting. I don't know.
Maybe. I've done that before.
Yeah, it did just seem, I was like, what are you doing, man? Come on.
Now,
like, you're better than this.
We talked about her having the moment in the hallway with Sid. Yeah. So then she goes back in the bedroom and, you know, they have their moment. Mm-hmm. He apologizes for everything. She apologizes for everything. They have their moment where they come back together. Here's the real question. Do they have sex?
I think so. Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, they were planning to.
I mean, they were planning to, but you don't think the weekend was too lost?
No, I don't. I think because like he came clean and they made up. I think that would have, like, they both realized they're in this thing. And so I 100% believe that they did. The real question is, did they leave the Kit Kat on the bed?
It got used during sex.
Because she tossed it on the bed and, like, it never got given to him. It was just there.
Maybe it got used during sex. Maybe I stand by that.
Maybe it did. Wouldn't be the first time I've done that. Just
You've used a Kit Kat during sex?
Well, not specifically a Kit Kat, but, you know, a candy bar has come into play before.
Oh, I have so many questions that I will have to ask off the air.
There was one funny kind of interesting thing that happened in this that nobody other than you really is going to have any care about because it's kind of an inside thing for me.
Okay.
Did you catch what the date was in the date book, in the signature book?
Was it 2/22?
It was February 22nd of 2020. Yep. And I was like, I had to rewind. I was like, did I just see what I think I saw?
Nice.
Yeah. For those out there, that's my number, 222. Just saying.
222.
And we're almost there.
We are.
Just saying. In this, it'll almost be almost 2 years to the day. I'm going to have to post that on Twitter. 2 years to the day that Drew and Stacey went to this place.
There you go. All right. So let's talk about Ellen, Jesse, and Mia.
Did you want to talk any more about the Sid Hannah stuff since that was the rest of the couple getaway?
I mean, their thing was kind of brushed over, but I mean,
sure, yeah, it wasn't as in depth as the Drew and Sophie stuff, but yeah.
So we can we can address it before we move on. So then Sid goes back into the bedroom with his Kit Kat.
Yeah.
And, you know, he apologizes that he bought the bar in, you know, brash, what's the word I'm looking for? Hasteness?
Yeah, hasteness. That works.
And, you know, Hannah's so amazing. She's like, you know, I don't mind that you did it. I just wish you would have said something to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, baby, I love you. And she's like, baby, I love you too. And then she's like, do me dirty. And he's like, yeah, let me get this Kit Kat out.
They're going to have a baby.
And then everyone died. No, I'm kidding.
End of the series. That renewal that happened. Oh, yeah, we didn't even mention at the top, man. The show got renewed for a 20-episode second season. So
spoilers, bro.
We're going to see all kinds of good stuff. Or are we? Maybe it was all a trick, and this episode was the finale. I don't know. Maybe everybody died.
Dude, that would be a sick trick.
They're like, the show has been renewed. Here's your new episode. Everybody's murdered in some gruesome fashion. Or like the episode pans back and it's all inside of a snow globe. You know what I'm talking about.
St. Elsewhere.
You got it.
Good reference.
St. Pemberton's.
St. Pemberton's.
But yeah, so let's get into the dinner party section. There was some good stuff happening here.
There was,
party, man.
Now we addressed part of this.
Yeah, we did.
So Charlie and Ellen decided to put on a dinner party. Charlie's first check is a bartender.
Yeah.
And he couldn't afford much.
Does not go as far. It's funny because Ellen's idea of a party and Charlie's idea of a party are two very different things.
Well, I mean, he does have slightly different upbringing.
Oh yeah, no, I understood why.
Yeah.
I just find it funny because like she makes a table out of like some boxes because like they don't have a table because they're poor as hell.
Yeah,
and like it tips over.
Because she did that, and the first thing I thought of was the scene from The Office where Jim switches out all Dwight's furniture for
the cardboard. Yeah, like when he wraps it in Christmas
paper.
Yep.
I was like, oh fuck. I know it wasn't like supposed to be that, but that's where my head went, and I was like,
It reminded me of that, and it also, I mean, we literally said we got to stop comparing it to How I Met Your Mother. But when Ted, or was it who is it? Who was making? Was it Lily making or was it Ted making their own furniture?
Ted.
The coffee table.
Yep.
And it just collapses.
Yep.
Yeah.
The cup that like doesn't hold liquid, and then he makes the crib at the end, and when they toss the note in, it just like fucking crumbles.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So that kind of just made me think of that. I was like, oh, another coffee table that just doesn't hold up.
Yep.
Charlie makes a comment where he's like, she's like, you could just buy cheaper things, and he's like, I'm gonna go out and buy chunks of pepper jack and pigs in a blanket.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, man, I'd rock the shit out of that at a party. Hells yeah. You put those on a platter, and I'm like, no, this is a good party.
I thought it was great though that like when he pulls out the artichoke, and he's like, okay, everybody's just gonna rip off a piece and pass it around the table. And I'm like,
and it gets to Mia, and he's like, one leaf, Mia. Yeah. One leaf.
Oh man.
Speaking of Mia, oh man, she is probably the most terrible person that we've met on the show. So
probably,
like, she's just like you know, people, you have the whole like liberal versus conservative crap, right? I'm very liberal, you know that, very left wing, but this chick it makes liberals look bad. You know what I mean? She's like super activist and like makes you feel bad for fucking like using a straw or having a, what was it, like a tiger or leopard print shirt?
Like a cheetah print
shirt. It's not like it's real. She's like, well, how would you feel if I had a shirt that with the print of your skin on it? And I'm just like, who the fuck says that?
Right?
Like, what? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't know. I did not like her one little bit.
That is some psychopath shit right there.
Yeah, I did not even, oh man, I was rooting for her to be out the door.
Listen, so while we're talking about that part of the story arc, well, we could talk about it parallel as we're going.
Yeah.
when she first walks to the door and Ellen's like, "Oh, hello there."
As soon as I saw the shocked look on her face, I was like, "It's the girl she slept with."
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "Okay, so this is where that storyline's gonna go."
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Wow, I can't believe they're really gonna pull out such a cliche trope already." Like, okay, so we're gonna have the brother sister who have now fucked the same person. And then they get down the line a little bit during the dinner, and Charlie's like, "Oh, I bet you're a great lover." And Ellen's like, "She is." And Jesse's like, "We haven't had sex yet." And then he gets pissed off and he's like, "Oh, well, And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I get that. I it's a very, very awkward situation. But honestly, Mia is the one, in my opinion, to blame, because her and Ellen sleep together, right? And they show the scene where it's like they're at the coffee shop, they kiss, Mia turns around and instantly meets Jesse, right?
Instantly.
And so it's like she also was like bitching at Ellen because Ellen didn't call her back.
Yeah.
But you're over here hooking up with some other dude
right away.
It's like, fuck you. Like, why? Like, don't be getting up on her jock for that.
All right. So now this is a moment in the episode where I'm going to take what's happening in the show and compare it to something I've done in real life, and I want your opinion on something.
Okay.
So we know how awkward this love triangle is between Ellen, Mia, and Jesse.
Yeah.
How awkward of a family situation have I created with the husband, wife, sister?
It's true. It's
you think that ever comes up in conversation ever?
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked.
Look at this smile. That's a real smile.
Yeah, it's that's very true. Good stuff.
Like, it's had to at least come up once, right?
Oh, absolutely had to have. Problem is, you're not as douchey as Mia, so I'm just saying.
That is true.
So
the douche in that relationship was Eric.
There you go. Names galore. But
I said his first name. I didn't say Eric Sandine.
There it is, folks. But yeah, the whole. I'm so glad that Jesse did, because like he was kind of like fawning over her, you know.
He
like,
was. You
could see like Ellen being like, ugh, and Jesse being like, oh, and like anytime they'd like she'd say stuff. And then eventually he got so fed up with it, and it was I loved it. He was like, "That's it, I'm done." And I was like, "Yes."
I think part of it might have been like honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they just started dating. Things are glorious.
Well, that, and he even kind of says it, you know, it's like he's tired of being, like, he doesn't want to be single. And like, I think the whole thing with them going away for the weekend and him being excluded, that got under his skin.
And that was a funny moment too, when they're talking about how he's like, I would have thought I would have been on the weekend. And they're like, because you love Sophie? Or because it's your friends.
Yeah.
And he's like,
he's like,
Mia's like, I'm out of here. I have no idea who any of these people are.
Yeah. Like, and he denies it. You know, he's like, it's because I want to hang out with my friends. And I'm just like, no. Like they are 100% sowing the seeds for that storyline, you know, for the Jesse and Sophie storyline. Like we see it. It's gonna eventually, something is gonna happen. Whether it just be he like professes how he feels about her, whether he gets shot down or not, I don't know. We'll have to see. We got a whole second season coming to find out if they're gonna do anything with that. So
also something else that we kind of forgot to mention during talking about it. Did you catch the line by Sophie that she's never been in a committed relationship?
Yes. Yeah, I have that written down. She's like, I've dated tons of guys. But she's never been in an actual committed, like, full-on relationship. And it's
I guess it just, like, never works out for her. Like, it fizzles before it gets there.
Which is so sad. Like, she seems like such a cool person.
Yeah.
You know, this character, like, she's quirky.
She's totally a girl that I would try to pick up in a bar.
Yeah, she's quirky and fun, and interesting and beautiful. And so it's like
gorgeous.
Like these dudes are idiots, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand, man. I just don't understand at all. But yeah, the whole love triangle thing, it was funny. It was funny. And it was obvious that was going to be the one that didn't last.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah, and
I would have thought it would have been funny, though, is if Mia was leaving, because she makes that whole big stink about not knowing anybody. She's out. I thought it would have been funny if Ellen was like, call me. You know,
kind of almost like what she tried to do in the last episode.
Yeah. But I know it probably wouldn't have happened, but I just thought it'd been funny.
Yeah, it would have been. It definitely would have been funny. Okay, and then we talked a bit about it, the Vale and Charlie stuff.
Yeah, their payoff was really sweet.
Yeah, it all comes, she started, because the thing is, from the beginning of the episode, Charlie is trying to hide the fact that it bothers him.
Yeah.
When Vale talks about the dudes that she has slept with and all this stuff. And she's real nonchalant about it. She just says it because to her, it's not a big deal. Okay? But it's not a big deal when it's about her.
True.
And she says, it wouldn't bother me if it was just about you, sleeping with random girls. It's because he chose to move to other countries for these girls the same way he did for her. And I'm just like, okay. And why is that special? Why should that be any more special?
That's a good point.
And I mean, obviously, like I said, we find out why she's kind of acting the way she is. But honestly, I think at the beginning, it was just like all the other girls. He ran off to this other country with this girl that he had just met. I do believe for 100% that at the beginning, it was just like all the other times.
Probably. There
was nothing special about it. But he fell in love with her. And that's the difference. They
had a shared moment.
And so, yeah, her getting all upset about it. And then when they finally, because, yeah, you talked about before, you thought that this would be the one, or at least one of the ones that didn't make it. And I was worried about that because it got real like heavy.
Oh,
she like leaves and stuff, and like is this gonna be okay? Because even the other two relationships over on the couples retreat, I never for a second thought, oh, one of these relationships is gonna end. I didn't feel that way as they were going through it. But with Vale and Charlie, like I felt that was a possibility.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And but we see them get back together, and like you said, a beautiful get back moment where they both declare their love for one another. And so hopefully we won't get any more of this like Vale acting in a weird fucking way type shit anymore. Because like she just be honest about your feelings, girl. Be honest.
Agreed.
About it. So all right.
Any other fun little notes?
I think we covered just about everything that I can think of. Is there any other thoughts for you?
No. I really liked this episode, though, man. Like I said, it had a real How I Met Your Mother vibe to it. It made me... It was definitely a nostalgia kick to the balls.
Yeah. I do find it funny. We had this crazy character with Mia, and it was directed by a crazy guy in Hooch.
I mean, Hooch is crazy.
Hooch is crazy, man. Would have loved to have seen him in the episode, though. That would have been cool. Just like a random, like he's just kind of there in the background or something. Line. That would have been fun, because then I would have been like, yo, Hooch is in this episode. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I think this is one of the better episodes of the season so far.
I agree.
Hopefully they can keep on that kind of track of just real good content. So far I haven't disliked.
We got 4 more episodes.
Yeah, so far I have not disliked any of the episodes in the first season. So
neither have I.
I hope that it continues that way. So yeah, if you don't have anything left to say, then I guess it's time to wrap it up. John, where can the people find you?
Well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I plead not guilty to being here on Twitter at Simply Sane J1, where you can go check out my podcast and my blog and random tweets towards celebrities and wrestlers and all the crazy shit that just comes to my mind here and there.
Yeah. It's very true. And sometimes they get weird. Sometimes they get funny. You never know what you're getting. It's like a box of chocolates, folks. It's like a box of chocolates. It's like a box of chocolates with a missing lid, because then you truly don't know what you're gonna get.
I love you, Jen.
You guys can find me on Twitter at JP Rayner. That's JPRAYNOR, as well as right down here at Movie Blog Merc. That is a Twitter page for my site, Merc with a Movie Blog. If you are watching this on YouTube, you are on the Merc with a Movie Blog YouTube channel, so be sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, click that little bell, just so that anytime we drop a video, whether it be a last call or any of the other videos that we do over here on
his videos.
Yeah, I mean, you've been in a few.
I have, and
I hope to get you in a few more. Yeah, you can check us out there if you're just listening on podcast form on Anchor, anchor.fm/last call HIMYM. You can leave us a voice message there. Give us your thoughts. We'll play that on air. That's always a fun time. If you listen on Apple or Spotify, you want to leave us a 5-star review, write something down, we'll read that out on air as well. Actually, as I pretty sure I forgot to the last episode, we actually do have a review.
Oh, you forgot to even tell me then.
Yeah, well, no, I think I had sent it to you, but we never read it out on air.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so let's do that right now. We did have a new 5-star review from username Boozemont. Thanks, Boozemont. With the title Legend, wait for it, Dairy. Says, absolutely love the podcast. Always makes my day when a new episode comes out. Short, simple, sweet, but we love it. Thank you, Boozemont. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Who has, left reviews or just, liked on Twitter or whatever, just in general watches the show or listens to it.
Or the couple people who have reached out to be on the show.
Yeah, like we appreciate you. We love you. And we're going to keep bringing you more content. It's going to be good times. And I hope that you guys continue to join us. And join us next week for episode 7 of How I Met Your Father, as well as Slap Bet coming this Monday.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, if you love Robin Sparkles, you better be prepared, because it's going to be a good show. I think that's all I got for him, man. What do you got for him?
Listen, you don't have to go home, but you can't listen here.
That's right. Catch you next time.